Hello, 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 everyone. It is your girl Yasha Tay, the queen of Fix Your Crown Again podcast, and I'd like to welcome you to a new episode. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Yasha Pendergrass. I am the queen of Fix Your Crown Again podcast, where my mission is to empower my kings and queens by sharing pearls of wisdom, being transparent, and living on purpose. My vision is to inspire our people to love, and embrace life while letting go of the hurts and pains of yesterday. On this episode on today, we have a special guest. I have with me the Book of Poetry, Mr. A. Bernard Duke. So let me welcome him to the stage. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, we are live, Mr. A. Barnard. We would like to welcome you to Fix Your Crown Again podcast. So tell us, just give an introduction, tell us who you are, and let's get going on today.
It's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Bernard Dukes. I am the host of the Book of Poetry podcast. I am also the author of three very intriguing books, and so I am so happy to be here finally to literally be on this platform and to literally get to interact with Miss Yasha Tay. So pleasure to be here.
Uh, all right, well, amazing. So, as you stated, you have three books. Can you tell us more about your books and, um, just kind of go from there?
Sure. So my books are actually what the first one that came out was Abandoned by Love, and it's just a book about my journey and my story from obviously coming back from you know an actual surgery in which I had valley fever and literally just fighting, just fighting back, man, just fighting through difficulties. Of course, with the help of my Lord and Savior, with the help of my spiritual, um, but with just my spiritual fortitude, just actually all the willpower of family and friends to literally come back. So that was one of the books, and then I had another one called Speak for Them. That was my second book, and
Okay.
literally that book was all about speaking for those that could not speak for themselves, literally just speaking up for people that um, didn't necessarily want to be in the forefront or didn't necessarily, have the voice to do so. And then last but not least is my newest book, which is Everyday Conversation. And just a book about life, man. Just a book about everyday thoughts and messages and being able to put those in perspective. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Mr. Three Book author. That is absolutely amazing. So, Abandoned by Love, Speak for Them, and Everyday Conversation. Um, so, what is your why? What made you write these books? That's the first question. The second question is, how do you envision these books touching the lives of others?
Yeah. Great questions. Well, my why goes back to the start. Kind of like what I was saying about being in coming down with valley fever. Um, that was kind of like my why, at least the start of it, should I say? Because to be honest with you, you know, Yashite, and literally, probably the first time that I've had the ability to literally have a one-on-one conversation about this, but I had given up. Honestly, I had given up on myself. I had given up on life. I didn't think it was a comeback. My mom was by my side the whole time that I was in the hospital, and so having to battle back after valley fever, um, literally having to learn to walk and learn to talk again. go through those therapies, and um, it was tough, man. I, I'll tell you, my this happened. It all happened during my birthday time frame
Mhm.
back in 2018, and so what gave me the will to go forward was my son's son was born. My grandson was literally born during that same time frame,
Okay.
and it's amazing because I remember just sitting there in the hospital, and they brought him in and literally sat my grandson in my arms, and that was my why. That was my reason. That was my fortitude to want to fight. I knew then that I could not give up. I knew then that,
Hmm.
man, legacy was right before me, and I had to fight. And honestly, that was kind of the beginning stages of it. Um, and from there, it kind of went on to the process of going through therapy, and literally coming across this book, this inspirational book, if you will. Yeah, this book called The Day I Met Myself, and literally, I knew that there were some things in me that needed to be shared, that needed that people needed to hear, that that was really going to inspire others, because the author, which I think you know as well as I do, that the author did such a great job of sharing stories and literally giving their why and telling their reasons. And oh yeah, I have my copy right here.
Oh my gosh.
So it was definitely one of the things that literally moved me to do the books, and later on now to actually move on to the podcast.
Okay. So I hear you talk about valley fever. Is that the correct enunciation of it? Could you tell us more about it for any of our viewers who may not know what valley fever is? Kind of tell us what that is about.
Sure. It's valley fever is a condition that typically takes place in a certain region,
Mhm.
and that region being Arizona, New Mexico, California, Las Vegas, that area, Nevada. That area is typically where you find more cases of valley fever, and it's really something that's airborne. It's something that you inhale. There's a lot of dust storms that are in the Arizona area, and so with those dust storms, I mean, granted, you don't have a mask on. The weather is beautiful 9 months out of the year.
Mhm.
You really got 3 months that are extreme, but with those dust storms, you inhale a lot of different things, and depending on what's going on in your body, what you know things may mix, or what things may come into to play, it can wreak havoc, and there's different forms of it. Yeah, for me though, it was the worst. It was the worst case scenario, and thank goodness I was able to battle through it. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I hear you talk about after your illness and going through the transition of having to learn how to walk again, and a pivotal point being, having your grandson in your arms. Here on Fix Your Crown, I always like to make sure that we highlight times in our life when maybe our crown has been twisted or may have fallen off. So, help us understand when you found yourself in this hospital room, battling, going through rehab. How did every other thing in your life before then add up? How did maybe friends who didn't invite you to their birthday party, or someone who may have cut you off along the way while you're driving, help the audience understand that when you find yourself in life where you are at a place where you could almost cease to exist, how big are the elephants in the room at that time?
Whew, man, that's a big one right there because nothing else matters.
Mm.
You know, when it matters to you, nothing else matters. Nothing else is important. Nothing, everything else is insignificant. You know, being upset about who said this or who said that, it doesn't even come into play when you're contemplating whether you're going to be breathing your last breath or not. When the doctor said call the family in, whoo, that is a whole nother, that's a whole nother story. And
Wow.
so, um, yeah, it definitely takes on a different meaning, and it really shows you what is important.
Mhm.
It shows you the things that are truly important, your family and friends and loved ones, and all the other minute stuff doesn't weigh in comparison.
Wow. Well, audience, you better listen. If there's anything that you may be holding on to from a family gathering or an old friend or a relationship, let it go. It's not worth it. Um, Mr. A. Bernard himself is saying, look, he's been at that place and he's telling you right now, don't have to get there to take heed to the pearls of wisdoms that he's dropping on this podcast on today. So I would like to talk a little bit about your books. Are they books of poetry? I know some is that of conversation. And so if it is a book of poetry, what is your favorite poem? And if it's a book of conversation, what is the favorite conversation piece that you would pull out of your book?
Yeah, what there is the book of poetry is the podcast per se, and
Mhm.
as far as the books are concerned, I think, man, there are so many different poems that are there. I think the one that literally kind of played into, you know, what's going on now in um, this particular form would be, you know, my testimony. You know, a living witness would be that poem, and the reason what is because it kind of talks about everything that we are delving into right now. It kind of gives us an overview and kind of shares a little bit about the experience, and that's what I hope that people get out of my poetry. You know, I hope that they get that out of the podcast is the experience and literally uh, being able to actually connect with it. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think I'm hearing the audience say that they want to hear one of your poems. I think the one that you said that is your favorite, that I think that's what they're saying they want to hear it. So do you mind sharing your poem with us on today? And so yeah, they're rooting. I hear them. You can't hear them, but I can hear them. They're wanting to hear
yeah,
it. So
sure. I would be happy to share my testimony, a living witness. You don't know, like I know, what was done for me. You can't tell it. Let me tell it. What was done for me. Amazing grace, amazing grace. What was done for me. Amazing grace. How sweet that sound. What was done for me. Called the family in and made arrangements. What was done for me. But the master's plan came in and changed it. What was done for me. 5 months here, 5 months there. What was done for me. Doctors, nurses, family, care. What was done for me. Rehab, rehab. Now all things revealed. What was done for me. One day, 2 days, 3 days, still healed. What was done for me. You don't know, like I know, what was done for me. You can't tell it. Let me tell it. What was done for me.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful poetry of a true testimony. Sorry, a true testament of that season in your life. And thank God that, you are still here. And through that season, um, it has given birth to 3 books. It's given
Right.
birth to a podcast. It's given birth to a voice. For you, being willing to share your story and share your poetry to change people's lives. And I feel like that's what it's all about.
Right.
Is weathering the storm, going through the seasons of being shipwrecked, and realizing that there is purpose behind it all. So, um, tell us, where can people find you on any of your platforms, or how can they actually get access to your books?
Yeah. So my podcast is only on Spotify right now. Hoping to expand in the future, but right now it's on Spotify, and it is called the Book of Poetry Podcast. A. Bernard Dukes. So you can definitely find me there. My books, you can actually access my books via my Facebook page, which is A. Bernard Dukes MBA. And if you look down in the description, you'll see my website. And when you click on my website, if you scroll down to where it says my books are concerned, you'll be able to click on each of the actual pictures, and it'll take you directly to where you can order the books. So you'll see a photo of Bended by Love, you'll see a photo of Speak for Them, and you'll see a photo of Everyday Conversations, the book.
Oh, well, amazing. So I mean that this pretty much just wrapped up our interview on today. Is there any last pearls of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience, or anything you would like to share with the audience?
In closing, and obviously, thanking you for the opportunity to come onto your podcast and literally having a chance just to share my story. I would just say never give up. Never allow whatever is current and not, going in the way that you think it should go. Never give up. Always rely on your faith. Um, Definitely, whatever your faith may be, I always relying on your faith, keeping that in perspective, um, because there is definitely something greater than me that could have literally allowed me to continue to exist after an ordeal like that. So that would be it. That's what I would share.
Okay. Well, I personally, y'all should say, the Queen of Fix Your Crown Again podcast, would like to thank you for being a part on this platform. We thank you for bringing your pearls of wisdom and knowledge, sharing your life experiences, letting us know what was the passion behind the books that you have produced, and just, giving people insight that so many times, I've heard conversations, I have friends, I've had situations where I call myself holding on to a grudge or holding on to a situation. And I have never been at the point where I've been on a bed where the doctors have called in my family. But I do thank you for sharing that experience, because I don't want to have to go. There's some things we shouldn't have to want to go through in life,
No,
guys. If you have
no.
someone who's sharing their testimony, sharing their experience, take it for face value, reevaluate your life, fix your crown, get it together. Because, as I always say, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Subscribe to the channel, share, just be a blessing to everyone and anyone that you come in contact with, because always remember, you're here on purpose, on assignment. Until next time, bye bye.